Max Verstappen's future is more uncertain than ever. With Red Bull slipping and Mercedes circling, the next move could reshape Formula One. Here's what we know, and what's still unfolding. Max Verstappen keeps dodging the big question. Will he stay at Red Bull next year? So far, no firm answer. And that silence keeps Toto Wolff hopeful. The Mercedes team principal is playing the long game, holding off on re-signing George Russell in case Verstappen decides to make Brackley his next home, be it in 2026 or later. Despite Verstappen being repeatedly asked about his future, he's offered little more than shrugs and vague responses. Even with Christian Horner's recent sacking, Verstappen hasn't used the media to shut down speculation. Why? Because the door's still open. His contract reportedly includes exit clauses, one of which could kick in depending on results before the summer break. And now we've hit that break. The gap between Silverstone and Spa is a perfect escape hatch from press scrutiny. Conveniently, Verstappen's private jet was spotted landing in Sardinia, where by no coincidence, Toto Wolff also happens to be vacationing. Some even claim their yachts were docked side by side. Sky Germany's Ralf Schumacher says it's not accidental, though Mercedes insiders insist they didn't even meet. Regardless, Bild reports the talks are far from over. Expect a clearer signal from Verstappen about 2026 in the coming weeks. Remember, he and Wolff were already in talks last year before things were put on ice. Meanwhile, Verstappen's camp is closely monitoring Red Bull's trajectory, suggesting Horner's removal wasn't enough to erase their concerns. And with Mercedes believed to have the edge in the 2026 engine race, Wolff won't want to give away too much, especially if Verstappen doesn't come on board. All this puts George Russell in an awkward spot. He's in top form, likely having the best season of his career, yet his future is hanging in the balance. Ironically, the man who may replace him could open the door to Russell heading the other way. With Horner, his longtime blocker, out of Red Bull, a Russell move to Milton Keynes suddenly seems more plausible than ever. Toto Wolff has long carried the regret of missing out on Max Verstappen, who burst onto the F1 scene at just 17 with Red Bull. Since then, Verstappen has delivered 4 straight world championships from 2021 to 2024. But the grip he and Red Bull once held on the sport is starting to slip. By the time he clinched that 4th title, signs of vulnerability were already showing. Now, in 2025, the cracks are even more visible. Red Bull sits just 4th in the constructors' standings after 12 rounds, and Verstappen trails the championship leader by a staggering 69 points. The door to Mercedes, once firmly shut, has creaked open again. Wolff hasn't been shy. With Lewis Hamilton bound for Ferrari, the Mercedes boss has openly admitted he'd love to bring Verstappen in as his replacement. Nothing materialized during the initial wave of speculation. But as Red Bull's performance has dipped, the rumors have come roaring back. Crucially, Mercedes still hasn't locked in a single driver for next season. George Russell, despite his stellar form, recently admitted that negotiations for his extension are being slowed down, likely due to the ongoing Verstappen flirtation. Neither side is saying much, but the silence speaks volumes. Interestingly, Verstappen recently opened up to De Telegraaf, confirming that he and Wolff reconnected last season, marking their first real talks since the dramatic 2021 title fight. According to Max, he's working on a lot more beyond F1, and any team he signs with must be willing to accommodate that bigger picture. In other words, the next move in Verstappen's career won't be just about speed or trophies. It'll be about freedom, ambition, and legacy. And Wolff knows it. I think it was our first real conversation since 2021. We corrected a few things from that year, and also talked a little bit about the future perspective, said Verstappen. But for me, it's not just about Formula One. I do a lot of things with Red Bull. Everyone always thinks that decisions about my future are purely based on what's going on here in this world. But I'm working on a lot more. There's more than Project Formula One. That's not something that every team can just offer. Max Verstappen may be locked into a Red Bull contract through 2028, but there's a twist, a performance clause that could open the exit door much sooner. If Verstappen finds himself outside the top four in the Drivers' Championship after the Hungarian Grand Prix, he could reportedly activate that clause and walk away. But following the British Grand Prix, Red Bull's grip on the situation just got a whole lot tighter. Charles Leclerc, who currently sits fifth in the standings, had a dismal race at Silverstone and failed to score any points. As a result, Verstappen's buffer over Leclerc has ballooned to 46 points, with only 58 still available before the break. In short, the odds of Verstappen falling below that fourth-place threshold are now slim, weakening any near-term escape route from Red Bull. Meanwhile, Helmut Marko, Red Bull's outspoken senior advisor, has fired a shot across Mercedes' bow. He warned that if Verstappen jumps ship, he'll be sacrificing the freedom he currently enjoys. At Red Bull, Max has near total control over his program. At Mercedes, not so much. The message is clear. If Verstappen wants autonomy, he stays. If he wants a new challenge, he'll have to give something up. This story that everyone wants Max is becoming boring, Marco declared to Sky Italia. He has a contract with us until 2028, and as long as we give him a competitive car, there is no reason why he should leave. With us, he has a lot of freedom, which he would not have with Mercedes. Red Bull are pulling out all the stops to keep Max Verstappen from jumping ship to Mercedes, and with good reason. The Dutchman has carried the team almost single-handedly in 2025, scoring 165 of their 172 points so far. Last year, he delivered a staggering 74% of Red Bull's total. In short, without Verstappen, their dominance crumbles. Red Bull is now entertaining a bold and unprecedented idea, making Verstappen a title sponsor. That's right, he could lend his name to one of Red Bull's two F1 teams. It's a move that would not only leverage Verstappen's global brand power, but also signal a new level of driver influence in the sport. The idea, which began circulating during the British Grand Prix, was reportedly blocked in the past by Christian Horner. But with Horner now out of the picture, the proposal has gained serious traction. Whether it's renaming the main Red Bull racing team or rebranding the sister outfit, currently known as Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, Verstappen would be given a level of visibility and legacy building rarely seen in F1. Imagine a Team Verstappen on the grid. It would be a sensational twist in the driver-team dynamic and could prove to be the ultimate play to convince him to stay. As Verstappen weighs legacy over loyalty, the F1 world holds its breath. Will he jump ship or double down with Red Bull? Hit subscribe and stay tuned. This story is far from over.